2022 has come for the Predator. Prey got released on Hulu and I watched it twice. First viewing experience and I thought it was mid, but I enjoyed it a lot more the second time. There were plenty of setups I missed on my first watch as well as some aspects I should have appreciated more, but that's why we're here, isn't it? After rewatching the Predator franchise, I found this movie on the more positive end of the spectrum, however that's not a shining endorsement. It shouldn't have taken this long to execute a solid Predator idea, but here we are. Prey was directed by Dan Trachtenberg and centers around a young Comanche woman who wants to prove not only to her tribe, but herself that she can hunt. Why does hunting mean that much to her? Well...
because you all think that I can't.
yeah, there's not that much in terms of character, but as I always say, there's beauty in simplicity. All of these aspirations get challenged, however, when a predator gets dropped off on Earth and starts making its way up the food chain. Prey has a lot of what the Predator fandom has been yearning for. A return to the basics approach, man versus predator. This movie strips the complexity back and I think that was the right decision. Very few moments stood out to me with poorly executed CGI. The color grading and cinematography is pretty damn fantastic and some of the nature shots are downright beautiful. The action is really violent and it makes my lizard brain go... There's a neat little one-shot as well, and I really appreciate the overall concept and hope 20th Century Studios decides to follow this formula only in different time periods. Why the marketing decided to claim this is the Predator's first hunt on Earth and box themselves out of doing a Predator film in like ancient Egypt or ancient China is fucking beyond me, but whatever. Having Prey take place in 1719 was a very smart choice. It isolates itself time-wise from the other films, which allows it the room to tell its own story. I got a hot take though you all aren't ready for. I don't think this movie should have been called Prey. Yeah, I know that's a weird thing to criticize, but when I think about it, they can never use that name again. Like, that's it. What are you gonna call the next one? Praise? I don't know, given what we got, I would have happily accepted Predator 1719 as a name. I know colons are so 2010s, but still, I would have personally kept Prey in my back pocket. This movie, much like most Predator movies, have a hard-on for reusing one or many of the original's iconic lines or moments. You could tell the creator knew he couldn't take everything from the original Predator movie, so there's a neat little subversion where Naru, our protagonist, gets caught in some mud, and it isn't used to disguise her from the Predator, like at all, she just washes it off. The "if it bleeds we can kill it" and come on do it" lines feel unnecessary. The nod to the second Predator movie also feels really forced. Like, remember the flintlock pistol from Predator 2? Again, if the movie was called Predator 1719, I think it would have fit in just a bit better while also remaining member berries. I don't love a lot of the dialogue in Prey. I think if 10% of the dialogue was removed, it would then match the simplistic nature the movie seems to be aiming for. Apparently, I was a dumbass and watched the English version when I probably should have watched the Comanche dub, but I also heard that's lazily put together, so maybe not. Also, just mentioning this, I will happily take a movie or series where the characters speak in their natural dialect. I don't need everything in English. It actually takes me out of the immersion. I know Dan was going to attempt to try a Hunt for Red October situation where they switch from Comanche to English, but apparently that didn't work out. Not sure what went wrong, maybe one of the actors switched languages mid-sentence and got their tongue tied. There's obviously a passion for historical accuracy in this movie, however, I'm curious regarding where those lines begin and end, and not only mentioning the language dilemma, I mean other aspects of the story. And look, I don't need historical accuracy in my movies, this is all coming from someone who loves Inglourious Bastards, but if your goal is to be historically accurate, maybe don't make Naru war chief in the end. Specifically when women were considered the gatherers of the hunter-gatherer system. Personally, I think Naru being recognized as a hunter would have been enough for her and for the story, instead of being gifted this really important position based on one kill when her brother likely had to earn that position through a long career of hunting. I'm getting ahead of myself though, let's dive into the characters. I like Naru. There's quite a bit of discourse right now on whether she's a Mary Sue, and is she?
No.
We see her fail quite a bit throughout the movie, most of it being her own failure, so I'm not sure where this Mary Sue conversation stems from. Sure, the movie may bend some logic to make it so she wins in the end. We'll get to that later. But it's not like she's unanimously liked among her peers. She's not incredibly strong, and I highly doubt she's an author insert considering who the fuck would want to live in this time period. I found her character to be a bit flat, however I don't think she really needs to be deep or complex. She has drama, she has a repertoire with her brother, but the movie knows that's enough. At least it was enough for me. Does that remove some emotional weight? Yeah, but I'm fine with that. I mean, fuck, it's not like I was emotionally attached to Dutch. I'm also not making the claim that shallow characters are better suited for the Predator franchise. I will always encourage creators to improve their writing and take certain risks regardless of how actiony the franchise is. Taabe is a good brother. Much like Naru, he isn't a very complex character. He's considerate about his sister's aspirations while also making jabs at her as siblings naturally do. He becomes war chief in the middle of the movie, so obviously he's gonna fucking die, right? Yes, yes. He is fridged. Is that a bad thing? No, not at all. After all, Uncle Ben is the fridgest fridge to ever be fucking fridged. The Predator looks fucking awesome. People have been complaining that the Predator looks too monstrous in this film, but I think it's important to show slight differences in the appearances between the Predators, other than their utilities. Speaking of which, the Predator has some new toys. Old toys? He has old toys. The plasma caster is gone, it's replaced by this. He has a shield, a detachable spear that combos his swords, and these burning knife things. I like about half of these. If you want to depict the Predator 300 years in the past, you gotta be consistent with what they would use based on the original's design. You would think these burning knife things would have stood the test of time with how useful they could be, but I guess not. I don't get why the Predator's new old caster would shoot bolts rather than bullets. Also, why does he have to retrieve them? Just use fucking bullets. I love the idea of giving the Predator a shield, however its execution in this is pretty flawed. The shield is so small and he's using it while he's standing straight up. Just shoot at his fucking legs, dumbasses. Whoever was making these calls should have either made the Predator crouch or made the shield bigger. That's it. I'm actually pretty okay with the spear swords and the Predator's new helmet. It looks like a skull, but for all we know it's some unknown alloy considering it also utilizes the infrared visor. I really like the way the Predator works its way up the food chain and how he, mostly, approaches his kills using only similar weapons to what his opponent is using. Mostly. But he also takes an absolute fucking beating in this movie. So much so it almost breaches into comedy. He's shot in the head at fucking point blank range? This motherfucker should be dead by now and we get only one scene where the Predator treats his wounds. How durable are you? This fucking plot armor is in overdrive, I swear to God. Considering how much damage he takes, you'd think the Predator would be taking a shitload of spines, right?
Wrong!
No, we only get the one scene where he rips out the wolf's spine. I don't want to sound like the Chad dude bro. Why isn't he ripping out more spines? That'd be fucking badass. But based on how many blows he takes and how many seemingly worthy fights take place, you would think the Predator would be ripping out more spines. I guess we should talk about the dog. People don't like that the dog is kind of in and out of the movie, but he doesn't really do that until the third act where he actually just disappears for a whole ass scene, then comes back to bail out Naru. I suppose this is a Predator character issue rather than the dog's, but what the fuck is this? Throughout the whole movie you follow this code of conduct where you hunt based on what the prey has. Snake, fangs. Wolf, speed and fangs. Bear, size and fangs. Humans, ranged weapons and spears. You see what I'm saying? But all that comes crumbling down because the Predator wanted to shoot a fucking dog. My immersion just got trampled because the writers wanted everybody at home saying, "Oh no, not the pupper." I guess that segues us into the writing, so how is it? Well, there's some really high highs and some really low lows. Everything used against the Predator is set up pretty well. The orange Tutsia, the mud pit, the misfiring gun, and the Katamiya all have through lines. The role in this story is used effectively. Even some smaller setups and payoffs exist, like Taabe mentioning how he got his bow wet once and it didn't work, and then the same thing happens to Naru. We've already talked about the character writing. Naru is pretty flat, she just wants to prove she can hunt. Not an atrocity, but I would have preferred just a bit more. Taabe is fridged and the Predator lives to hunt. Thank fucking God, we finally have a simple fucking premise. It's so nice compared to this multiversal galactic time traveling mumbo jumbo we've been fed. The movie's themes are not dissimilar to the original movies, only instead of hardened muscular badasses being pursued by the predator, we don't get hardened muscular badasses being pursued by the predator. In all seriousness though, the movie has a theme similar to the original movies, the duality of hunter versus the hunted. The prey element of that is given just a bit more emphasis from the hostile area the Comanche live in, being hunted by not only the native animals but also from the scary motherfucker. What it truly means to be a hunter as opposed to simply surviving and knowing how to pick your battles. As mentioned before, it is a return to the basics. As far as low lows, so steel-jawed animal traps will fucking hurt. Doesn't matter if it's a rabbit trap, you have giant metal spikes digging into your ankles. You're going to be limping. End of story. But not in this fucking movie. Naru and her dog in this movie get caught in one of these fuckers and act like it never happened. I'm sorry? I don't understand how Tabe was able to get Naru back to the tribe when the lion was right there and he didn't even bother killing it. He dropped her off, then went back to kill it? Like, why not just finish the job before grabbing your sister? Dan, you could have had her wake up during his war chief celebration. This is a really weird chain of events. This shot really bothers me because the predator acts like a fucking dumbass, exposing himself to be potentially harmed just so we can have a helmet ricochet shot. 2008 called, it wants its fucking idea back. This dialogue is pretty unnecessary and goes along with my claim that about 10% of the dialogue should have been removed. I'm pretty sure the predator's infrared vision can still make out shapes, so it's kind of odd how Naru is completely invisible to him after she took the orange Tutsia. Like, shouldn't the predator just see a cold, standing figure in front of him? But no, she's just completely invisible. The way the predator dies left me feeling unsatisfied. Everyone's been complaining about how the predator forgot how his weapon works, and yeah, they're kinda right. My issue is he should have known how his weapon works when he first fucking landed. Like, he's shown when he doesn't have the helmet on, the gun misfires, so why would he think it works now?
But Tripod, he's stuck in the mud and he's trying to kill Naru, so obviously a ranged weapon is the precise option.
I don't know, I think we need to see him struggle a bit more getting out of the mud rather than rises menacingly. If you're trying to communicate he's stuck in the mud, then communicate he's stuck in the mud. This is almost exactly what I wanted out of a Predator movie. It's so very close to being great. There's quite a few issues, but this is repairable. We don't need to start from the ground up. I can understand why it wasn't released in theaters, even if I would have liked it to be, but that's a whole different conversation. Prey brings it back to the basics of simply surviving against something stronger than you. It has a working character arc. Take some fucking notes, Michael Waldron. It has some really exhilarating action, a strong theme of the duality between the hunter and the hunted. It has a stripped back approach to its presentation and some plot armor that's as frustrating as that lazy ass Rings of Power armor. This movie was a step in the right direction, but only a step. I know it seems like I absolutely dragged this movie, but this isn't nearly as bad as it could have been. It may not earn a spot in the Blu-ray collection, but I would happily watch this again. I'm going to give this movie a ranking system out of a ranking system. Please let me know if you think I should or shouldn't start incorporating a ranking system. That's been on my mind for a while now. Keep with this formula, 20th century. Perfect it, and you will hit gold eventually with the Predator franchise. Hey guys, I'm recording this after the fact, but I just wanted to say thank you all for clicking on the video and thank you for checking out my channel. It's been a busy couple of months, but fret not, I have many more videos in the pipeline and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. Also, special thank you to Nick and Tony for all the help with my videos. I appreciate it more than you guys could ever know. Anyways, that's about it. Make sure you clean up your dishes. I know you have them. Even if they aren't in your room, there's a dirty dish somewhere. Go clean it up. Just take it to the sink.